So a huge warm welcome back. So it's been 4 or 5 months away from YouTube. As you can see from my most recent video, I've launched my own coaching brand, so I've been prioritizing that and just getting that to a space that I really want it to, and I'm really proud of what I've achieved in a short time frame with Bray coaching. And today's video is now just going to be the start of frequent videos. Every fortnight we're going to be putting content out there via YouTube, so keep your eyes peeled for that. But in today's episode, we're going to dive into detail in terms of my circle and who's around me from a mentoring perspective. So as I went on my own, I no longer had that circle around me in terms of other coaches to bounce ideas off, and at some point 2 months down the line I did find that I was a little bit isolated. So I did my research into mentors around social media who helped coaches scale businesses, who helped coaches improve back-end systems, and came to the decision to essentially invest in Elliot and James. So you will be meeting both of those on today's episode, and we're going to bring something really exciting. I'm not actually sure what we're actually going to cover in that topic. So we're going to head down to a meeting shortly. So we'll take you to Starbucks and introduce you to both Elliot and James, and we're going to cover a couple of topics in regards to my relationship with them so far. And then we'll keep you posted on what else is in store, so I'm really excited to showcase that. I also want to bring you up to speed with my own personal progress as well. So I've touched on YouTube that the desire to turn pro, so IFBB pro in the men's physique division, was a goal of mine. So having some time away from bodybuilding, reviewing my goals, I can just generally confirm I've got no real desire to pursue that goal anymore. And the short answer to that is just I'm simply happy with how I look. I don't necessarily want tons more muscle. I don't really enjoy the process of stepping on stage. But having said that, I've invested into who I think is probably the best natural bodybuilding coach around in AJ Morris. I've been working with him now for around 2 weeks. The goal is simple really, to produce a physique that is in unbelievable condition all year with a good balance. And the goal driving that really is the sponsors behind me, so Bulk and BQ. I want to be in optimal shape to provide valuable content for those guys. And then at some point, I'm sure we will embark on a bit of a gaining phase just to regain that old tissue that I've lost. But the short-term goal and the primary goal you guys will be seeing via this content short-term will be improving my condition and generally learn from who, like I've said, one of the best in the industry. So you can see what I've been doing in the background from a business perspective, getting a mentor in place, and then from my own personal development, I've got AJ on board now to help me through that process. So I'll dive into detail in terms of why I think it's so valuable to have a good circle, but also to learn from the best from a business perspective, as well as a personal, to really grow.
I've seen where you are, like, your systems are good, but we were having a chat about, like, because I know we talked about challenges, but I said, Ben can't just do a challenge, like, we got to look at your brand now, like, your potential is huge, like, without blowing smoke up your ass, like, out of everyone we're working with, you're definitely one of the guys we can see could take it. So you've got to be very careful how you do things. If you really want longevity in this business and you want to do really well, your brand and your name is everything. So obviously you've been very careful with your service levels up to this point. So you go and just do a challenge, that could dilute that. You know, you've got to be very careful with that. I know you've got, you want to bring on other people on the team, like obviously alleviate your workload and obviously scale up. That always has to be done the right way. But we were talking about, like, a challenge that would actually boost your brand. So I don't know if you follow, like, Christian Guzman, Summer Shreds and stuff like that. But the way he did it, I think you could do a better job in the UK. You've got the same kind of image, same kind of look, but you basically create a challenge that you get involved with as well, people follow with you. And it's an absolutely massive thing. We could build a shed load of hype. You can kill a brand quicker by growing too quickly than you can by not growing fast enough. If you suddenly got 500 inquiries and you can't take it on, you get bad rap really quick. So we have to anticipate huge demand, make sure that everything's in line, all the systems are in place, probably trial it, and then when you're happy, go, okay.
You're at a point now where you as a person and as a brand, with the Bulk, the Vanquish, and your look behind you, like we said on our last call, like next year you're probably going to go down like the influence route, but you're not going to be a typical influencer. I said, we're going to be bringing, we want influencers to look and go, wow, what happened?
Set a new benchmark.
Yeah, because they've all done the ebooks and all that, and it doesn't, it works for money, but it doesn't get results, and that's why you're so focused on results. So to me, it's like, you know, you're at that rate now. We've obviously set up the automation to handle the inquiries. That's another thing. You were like, I can't even reply to the inquiries.
It's constantly in the back of my mind. I was 30 to get back to tonight or that, and it's constantly something that once that's done, I can spend that time working on it and stuff.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think if you know, where we've brought Sergio on, he's a great guy, a great coach, fits your brand. That's absolutely perfect. Obviously, we've fixed up a bit of your funnel in the sense of, you know, you're doing a few consults now just to make the whole process streamlined, because, you know, bringing on a new coach is, you know, can be difficult, but you've done it in a really good way, because at the end of the day he's getting results. So you've helped him grow, you've helped yourself grow, but now it's like, at the end of the day you're going to get to the point where you're both happy. Yeah. And now inquiries aren't going to slow down, especially when you bring them into the marketing, which we're going to do with the website and the promo. We want to do something different, because like I said, where you can kind of utilise your other sponsors, at the end of the day, like whole powders, if you say to them, look, I get this many inquiries a week, I've got this on a waiting list, like I'm about to launch something that no one's ever done properly in the UK, and absolutely, you know, we're going to analyse, you know, we're going to look at Christian Husband and everyone else, see what they've done and do it better.
But there's always more ways of making money. So it might get to a point where you've got the challenge going, you're capped out with a couple of other employees, you're really happy with everything, going, right, okay, well I'm earning shitload of money, let me get into development, let me get into rentals, some other service or something else. So that's always, with money comes options, so always bear that in mind as well. Like, don't cap yourself to just thinking online coaching. There's so much more here that you can get into, and also we probably want to be looking at some point in the near future some form of assets going to pay you some sort of dividend as well, cover your risk. When you're a young guy, by the time you're kind of like 30, you want to have a portfolio of like assets that are paying you an income where even if you stop doing your coaching, you're covered. Yeah. All your overheads are like set. You know, you've got some wealth behind you, because just earning a good monthly wage is one thing. Having assets and net wealth, and assets that are going to carry and pay you income over time, is smart. And obviously, will be driven by you and how you want your brand to go. And as your baby, you're very obviously quite socially protective over that. So within the remit of how you want things done, we'll try and best guide you to what we would do, but obviously give us feedback as we go. If, like, for example, you're not happy with how we kind of this is a challenge, let us, we'll like work around it. That's what we're here to mentor you, not here to tell you what to do.
No, and you've been brilliant with that so far. Like when we tried doing the service, didn't we? Yeah. I said, look, it's not enough for me. That's
what I said. You know, we trialled it, and you're just like, I don't want to do it, and that's why. You know, we had actually had a chat before this, because I was like, you're so results driven. Yeah. That's why
it's work close.
Yeah. Like we said on our, you know, on our call, like you want to be that, you know, kind of influence, but like cares.
With the knowledge.
Like actually cares, and is actually good at what they do, rather than just chasing likes. Like you chase results, which then gets you likes, whereas they chase likes and they don't results.
It's also a great use of content to build your YouTube. In my opinion, YouTube is the most powerful social media tool there is, like, and it's the most monetizable platform because it builds a lot of trust. Like, you look at all the big names, like Chris Bumstead, all these guys that do well on YouTube, make big money because they have that trust back. People thought they know that. That's what not a lot of people are doing. The ones that are doing it are crushing it. I think you've got a really good persona, you've got a great demeanour about you. I think people like you, you're very likeable. Obviously, it's what you're doing so well, but we need to scale it up.
I need more time.
Don't we all?
That's the challenge.
The thing is, you'll never get away from that, because you'll use that time on something else regardless. It's just maximising money within that time. You'll always need more time.
The alarm clock is back now. Every couple of months.
Out of the equation, like, what is your, like, where do you see yourself in 5 years, 10 years? Like, what's your actual goal?
Growing up, I've always wanted to be. I'm not being driven by money, but I've been driven by success, and I've always had a personality where no matter what I've done, I've always wanted to excel and be the best at.
Do you want to pursue that more, or is that something you're now less inclined to pursue in the future?
No, less inclined. Like I've said on this video today, bodybuilding for me, like the IFBB route, the competition's no longer. I want to be in unbelievable shape all year, but enjoy a great balance.
But if that is for you, then great. But I think what a lot of people say, I think they think once they reach a certain physique, it's going to bring something that it doesn't.
The big influencing factor for me was my audience as well. When I went huge, I was big, and like I noticed engagement went down on Instagram.
Really?
Yeah. I noticed engagement went down, followers didn't really grow as much. Put a photo on 2 days ago, literally not in the best shape I've ever been in, athletic, not the most conditioned, engagement from the roof. So that your answer's there, isn't it? So we're just back at home now, so that's a meeting capped off with Elliot and James, which was very productive. So that just gives you a little bit of an insight really in terms of how I manage the business side of things, the help that I get. So the conversation was primarily led by those two, always thinking and offering value in terms of how I can improve as a person and how I can improve the business, not just from a coaching perspective, but also other investments to look at long term as well. So really valuable meeting. Head blown a little bit, but I'll digest it all over the weekend and start putting things into practice. But I think this is just an evident sign just to kind of showcase to you guys where things are going from a coaching perspective, from a business perspective, and from a personal. So hope you enjoyed the first episode back. It's been quite in depth, something a little bit different, but there'll be plenty more to come from the channel. So make sure you keep your eyes peeled and make sure you subscribe, like, and comment what else you want to see in the future.